As the court pleases, my lord. My lord, may I proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Morning, Brigadier.
Morning, Mr. Kamsebi.
Now, sir, I'm going to start my cross-examination with certain preliminary questions before we address exhibits HH and JJ, which are the confession statements of accused number 2.
Yes.
Now, in your evidence in chief, you testified that you were tasked by Lieutenant General Nkomo, who was at the time the head of detectives, for you and certain members of the police to visit the family of the deceased, being Senzo Meyiwa, in October 2016. Is that correct?
I don't remember the month, but yes, around 2016, my lord, that is correct.
Ushilo-ke kubufakazi bakho kuyinhloko ukuthi ke ngaleso sikhathi leso ke uLieutenant General Nkomo okwakuyena wayehola ke ithimba noma ke wayehola ke abaseshi uyena wacela wena kanye nabanye ukuthi niyobona umndeni kamufi uSenzo Meyiwa ngo-October 2016. Inyanga ngiyikhumbule kodwa yebo kwakungo-2016.
Perhaps to refresh your mind, do you recall if you made a statement to that effect?
Yes, I did, my lord.
Ingabe uyakhumbula yini wenza istatement mayelana nalokho? Yebo ngasenza.
Brigadier, I'm going to refer you to A128, which is your statement, and your handwriting is like mine. It's like a doctor's handwriting, so I'm going to ask you to personally read it. My lord, the statement is A128. It's a statement by Brigadier Gininda. I don't think it's complete, my lord. Let me look for the part. Yes, what A128?
That is correct, my lord, and I do have the original A128, and indeed it does indicate that it was around October 2016. So I have
Okay,
the original
if you go
statement.
to the back of it and just tell the court when it was commissioned and by whom.
It was commissioned in 2019, November the 29, by Sergeant Mohula, my lord.
Nginaso-ke le statement ungibuza ngaso A128 uma sibekwa ke istamp noma commissioner ke nge-29 November 2019 uyena uSergeant Mohula.
And I'm going to request you, Colonel, with leave of the court, to place the contents of that statement in record.
So it reads as follows, my lord. I, the undersigned Bongani Nicholas Gininda, state under oath in English as follows. I'm a police officer with personal number there's a personal number, my lord, holding a rank of a colonel and stationed at the national head office, NATCOM's office. Then I've placed the cell phone number. Paragraph 2, on the 27th October 2016, I was tasked by then Divisional Commissioner of Detectives, Lieutenant General Nkomo, to assist with a visit of the Senzo Meyiwa family in KZN. She further requested me, I think, with my team to assist in the investigation of the said matter of the death of Senzo Meyiwa under FOSORAS 636-10-2014. It is prudent to mention that I was not part of the investigation of the said matter when it initially occurred in 2014. I was tasked by the Divisional Commissioner together with the following members: Lieutenant Colonel Ramohala, Captain Mabuti, Sergeant Mohane, and 4 tactical team support members. I wrote Sisiane, Ngwenya, Fusi, and Twayile. On the said date of the 27th of October 2016, we indeed arrived at Senzo Meyiwa's place, where we met his family. We introduced ourselves and advised the family that we will be assisting with the investigation of the said matter in question. The family indicated to us that the son-in-law, Mr. Thope, has knowledge or information that can help us with the direction of the case. We were given the contact numbers of the son-in-law, and I phoned the son-in-law. from my cell phone to arrange for us to meet. Mr. Hlophe agreed to meet us on the very same day in Wimpy, next to his place of employment in Durban area. We met Mr. Hlophe where we identify ourselves. Mr. Hlophe was specifically interviewed by Captain Mabuti in my presence, and his statement written down by Captain Mabuti, where Mr. Hlophe then took an oath and signed it after the statement was written. It was given to me, and I inserted it on the investigation file, where I marked it on top with my handwriting. The said statement was never removed by me at any stage until the case docket was given by my team to Colonel Shibiri for further investigation. When I was reappointed by the current Minister and the National Commissioner to revisit the said investigation, the said statement was still in the docket when the dockets were given to us by the previous investigation team. Copies of the docket was given to 4 members of the investigation team. This means Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, Lieutenant Colonel Ramohala, Warrant Officer Makubo, and later Advocate Sirepo from DPP KZN. After this said dockets were given to the DPP Johannesburg for further guidance. The said statement was in all material times in the docket, and when the dockets were given back to me as the lead IO from DPP, the said statement was in the docket and is still in the said docket to date as A116 and A175 correct indexing. After the interview with Mr. Hlophe in October 2016, I have never phoned or spoken or met Mr. Hlophe for any reason to date. I have never taken or written a statement from him directly with my own handwriting or said in any interview other than what is listed above. Then it's the oath, my lord, and where I then signed, and then is the commissioning.
Thank you, Brigadier. As the court pleases. Okay.
Istatement ke ubrigadier awasenza ke ngokumayelana naloko kuya ke nokuthi uya kwabo ke khona iKZN kuyobona umndeni wakhe ke umufi sifundeka ngalendlela ngiyiphoyisa yabhala ke ipersonal number yakhe nerenki futhi ika Colonel emaphoyiseni ngisebenzela ke eNational Head Office nge-27 ku-October 2016 ngaye ngacelwa ke yilowo owayephethe noma umcommissioner wama-detectives ngaleso sikhathi uLieutenant General Nkomo ukuthi ke ngilekelele ngokuthi ke kiyiweke kuwona umndeni wakhe uSenzo Meyiwa eKZN. Futhi ke okunye asicela ke kona ke mina kanye nethimba ke ukuthi silekeleleke uphenyo lalo ke icala lelo abe khuluma ngokushona kwakhe uSenzo Meyiwa elalingaphansi ko-Force Letters Case 63610-2014. Angikusho ke nokuthi ke ngangasiyona ke ingxenye yethimba eliphenyayo lalo icala leli ke eqaleni noma ke eqaleni kwalo ngaye u2014. Mina ke ngase ngicelwa ke uloyo noma ke nginikezwa ke umsebenzi owawulewa uDivision Commissioner kanye futhi nalamalunga ke alandelayo Lieutenant Colonel Ramuhola, uCaptain Mabuti, uSergeant Mukhane kanye futhi ke naba u4 be-tactical support team Sesiyane uNgwenya uFusi kanye noTsayelo. Ngalelo langa 27 October 2016 impela ke safika ke kumndeni wakhe uSenzo Meyiwa la esahlangana khona ke nomndeni sase sithola ke lapho kuwona ke umndeni siwazisa futhi noma siutshela umndeni ukuthi sizolekelela-ke ngophenyo lwalo icala leli. Umndeni wase usazisa-ke ukuthi kunomkhwenyana wabo-ke uHlophe, yena-ke unolwazi futhi-ke ne-information yokuthi-ke ingasinikeza-ke uhlangothi noma ukuthi siye ngakuphi-ke mayelana necala leli. Sase sinikezwa zona-ke iy'namba zakhe umkhwenyana lowo, futhi-ke ngamshayela ucingo-ke mina-ke ngisebenzisa owami umakhalekhukhwini ukuthi asihlangane. Mr. Hlophe wavuma-ke ukuthi ahlangane nathi ngalelo langa lelo eWimpy eduze nala ayesebenzela khona eDurban. Sahlangana-ke no Mr. Hlophe sayichaza ukuthi siwobani Mr. Hlophe, naye-ke waba ne-interview kanye naye uCaptain Mabuti, ngikhona-ke nami lapho, futhi-ke istatement sakhe sabhalwa phansi uyena uCaptain Mabuti. La khona-ke uMr. Hlophe wase efunga-ke wasayinda futhi. Emuva-ke kokuthi kuthathwe istatement sakhe sibhalwe phansi, sase sinikezelwa kumina-ke ukuthi-ke ngisifake noma-ke sibe kuyona-ke ifile la esamakwa khona-ke noma ingasimaka khona-ke phezulu. I-statement leso-ke asikaze sikhishwe-ke noma sikhishwe-ke kuyona-ke ifile leyo noma-ke kwidokodo. Kwazi kwayisikhathi la khona-ke sanikezelwa khona-ke kwithimba eliphenyayo ngaphansi kwakhe-ke uKennel Shiburi ukuthi kuqhutshekwe nophenyo. Uma sengibuyisela noma sengicelwa-ke futhi ukuthi-ke ayibe yimina-ke manje ophenya icala lelo, istatement leso-ke noma ngiqhubeke ngophenyo lwalo cala, leso statement leso saseyingxenye-ke yedokodo lelo engangiliphenya noma-ke engalinikezelwa-ke uma nginikeza ithimba leli eliphenyayo ebeliphenya ngaphambili. Amakhophi edokodo anikezelwa-ke kumalunga 4 ethimba eliphenyayo, uKennel Buthelezi, Lieutenant Colonel Ramuhala, Warrant Officer Makhubo, kanye naye-ke umshushisi noma-ke u-advocate Sirepo wase-DPP eKZN. Emuva kwalokho-ke idokodo leli laye landluliselwa-ke kwi-DPP noma-ke kwihhovisi labeshushisi eGoli ukuthi-ke basho-ke ukuthi-ke kuzothini-ke ukuya phambili. Leso statement leso ngaso sonke isikhathi-ke sasiyingxenye yedokodo lelo, noma futhi-ke idokodo libuyiselwa-ke kumina-ke nanjengomuntu oyena owumphenyi, libuya-ke kuyona-ke i-DPP. I-statement leso sathi sekhona singaphakathi lapho. Emuva kokuthi kwakhulunyiswana-ke noma-ke uMr. Hlophe kwakhulunywa naye-ke ngo-October ka-2016, angikaze-ke ngimshayela ucingo ngikhulume naye noma ngihlangane naye uMr. Hlophe noma sihlanganela-ke isiphi noma isiphi isizathu. Angikaze futhi ngithathe-ke i-statement kuyena uMr. Hlophe noma sibhalwa yimi noma kungasiyimina noma ngibe ne-interview naye emuva kwalelo langa lelo.
Thank you, Mr. Jonas. Now, Brigadier, you state that at the time you were not part of the investigation of Fosloras 636-10 of 2014. Who was the investigating officer at the time?
Brigadier Mudisa, the late Brigadier Mudisa Malot. He was from Gauteng.
Ushilo ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi leso-ke wangasiyona-ke ingxenye yethimba eliphenyayo-ke kulecala leli case 636-10 2014 kwakuwubani? Uthi-ke osengasekho-ke yena uBrigadier Mudise kwakuwala eGauteng.
And the gist of your A128 is that Mr. Hlophe then made a statement which was obtained by Captain Mabuti. Is that correct?
That is correct, Malot.
Ngiyasho-ke la ukuthi-ke uMr. Hlophe lona kune-statement awasenza esabhalwa phansi uyena uCaptain Mabuti.
But furthermore, Malot, that the said statement made or taken from Mr. Hlophe is in the docket because 128 was in relation to the allegation or the assertion that the statement that was given by Mr. Hlophe in my presence, although it was said it was taken by me, is missing. So the gist of 128 was to correct the allegation, to say the statement was taken in my presence, by Captain Mabuti, and the statement is not missing, it's still available.
Yebo ke futhi ke lana ke bekunensolo yokuthi ke istatement lesi esathathwa uyena uCaptain Mabuti ngikhona ke mina ke kwakuwukuthi okokuqala sasithathwe yimina engasilona ke iqiniso sasithathwa uyena uCaptain Mabuti futhi nokuthi ke sasingasekho ke manje kwidokotela noma singaseyona ke ingxenye yedokotela kodwa mina ngisho ukuthi ngaso sonke isikhathi leso statement leso sikhona ke u128 kulona idokotela.
And where were those allegations that the statement has now gone missing from the docket? Where did those allegations emanate from?
Well, my lord, it came up when so you'll see the date, my lord, it's 2019 when it was commissioned. So one will see that in 2016 I didn't make a statement myself because there was no need, there was no allegation. I was basically present when the statement is taken from Mr. Thope. Fast tracking to 2018, I then gets appointed as the lead investigating officer. We then, while we were running with this investigation, then these allegations, they were in the media platform a lot. In our discussion with the NPA, because I did say that there was a prosecutorial arrangement between us and the NPA, this assertion then needed to be addressed, and that is how this statement was made. Not that someone confronted me, it was something that the DPP felt that, look, there is this issue, let's just address it, and that's how I made a statement, my lord.
Funa ukwazi ke manje babuzwa msipili ukuthi ke le insolo lezi ayibuya kubika ukuthi le statement esasingasiyona ke ingxenye noma sasilahlekile kwidokodo uyashoka ukuthi ke ngo2016 ngoba ke senziwa ke istatement lesi uyena uCaptain Mabuti esithatha kuyena ke uhlophe insolo lezi zazingekho sasingekho ke isidingo sokuthi ngenze istatement sesiqhubeka ke manje sikhulumisana ke siqhubeka nophenyo ke nayo NPA kwaba khole insolo ke eyibakhona ke kwiinkundla zokuxhumana ila NPA ke manje seyisho khona ke ukuthi ke asilungise lokho ngoba ke kunalezi insolo lezi ingakho ke manje le statement lesi sa commission ngo2019.
Furthermore, my lord, sorry Mr. Ramsipili, furthermore, when, and I testify about this, my lord, when docket 375 was eventually then disclosed, when I said, I think I covered that in evidence in chief, with regard to docket 375 of 1/2019, and we had to make the copies for the defense. I saw also a statement there by one of the investigators making the same assertion, insinuating that the statement taken by Mr. Thope is missing, is something to that effect, and so that basically corrects that cannot be true.
Okunye futhi ke uma sikhuluma ngaleli ke idokodo eli375 ila engabona kune statement ke somunye ke walabo babe yithimba ke noma ke ababephenya sisho ke ukuthi statement lesi sikahlophe ke asikho kuleli dokodo lesi so manje ke lesi sami ke statement bekulungisa lokho.
Now, Colonel, sorry, Brigadier, if you know, prior to Mudise, I don't know her title, that you mentioned that she was the investigating officer of this case. Prior to her, do you know if the case was investigated by another investigative team?
Yes, so my understanding, and that is now in relation of what the quoted contains, my lord. The first investigating officer that was leading was in 2014. So first it was the DPCI. That is why one will see that when the cell phones were taken from the people who were inside the house, the person who took control of those cell phones as an investigating officer is one Lieutenant Kenneth Nittling. He is from the DPCI, that's the Hawks. Secondly, the downloadings of the cell phones were done by Captain Mushwana. He is from the Hawks.
Okay, just a moment. Sorry. Ufuna ukwazi ukuthi ke ngabe uyazi ukuthi ngobani ke abokuqala noma ke ithimba lokuphenya lokuqala laliphenya leqala okokuqala ke okokuqala nje kwakuyi DPCI lokubizwa ukuthi ke ama Hawks. Uma kuthathwa ke umakhala ekhukhwini babantu ababesendlini ke bathathwa uLieutenant Kenneth Nittling obuya kona ke ama Hawks. Uma kwenziwa ke manje pitch imininingwane noma phecelezi ke i-downloading kwaba ke uKenneth Mushwana nayo obuya kuma Hawks.
The application for section 205 for everyone that was in the house, my lord, were done by Captain Bomsrang. He is also from DPCI, the Hawks.
Captain
Bomsrang. He's a Lieutenant Colonel now, Lieutenant Colonel Bomsrang.
Uma kwenziwa ke isicelo sama section 205 ke senzwa ke uCaptain Bomsrang kodwa ke manje uKenneth ke naye ubuya kuma Hawks.
Now, in few days from there, my lord, then the detectives, provincial detectives, then took over, and then female Captain Mutetwa was then the IO of this matter. That's female Colonel Mutetwa.
bese kuthi ke
Captain, sorry.
kuyinsuku nje ezimbalwa ke emuva ke kwalokho base kuthi ke manje ke ihhovisi ke labaseshi ke kwaba yilona ke manje esilithatha uphenyo owesifazana ke uCaptain Mthethwa kwaba uyena ke manje oyena ophenya icala.
So Captain Mthethwa, my lord, was also working in the same office or provincial office where Brigadier Modise was. He was a colonel at the time, and there was also Brigadier Ndlovu. So it was the same office, and I'm not sure at what stage who was playing at what role at the time, but I know Captain Mthethwa was the lead IO. At the time when I was tasked by the DIVCOM, I know it specifically is Brigadier Modise, because when we got to Mr. Madala to follow this assertion by Mr. Thope that he told him what is contained in that statement, I was referred to Brigadier Modise to say, we don't know you, this is the IO, and I had to ask him to say, look, we have the request from the DIVCOM, can you allow this person to respond? And I've indicated, my lord, that there was resistance. So that is how I know the presence of Brigadier Modise.
Futhi ke yena uCaptain Mthethwa wayesebenza ke kuhhovisi elilodwa ke naye ke uColonel uBrigadier Modise okwakuyiColonel ke ngaleso sikhathi, kanye futhi naye ke uBrigadier Ndlovu ke angazi nje ukuthi ke ubani ke owayebambe liphi iqhaza ngaleso sikhathi leso. Futhi ke ukwazi kwami ngaye ke uBrigadier Modise kwakungenkathi ke nanje babengikushilo ngaphambili lokho ukuthi ke uma sengiya noma sesiya kuyena ke uTumelo Madlala siyombuza ke ngalokho okushiwo uyena ke uMr Thope ukuthi yiloko akushela uTumelo abesethi ke uTumelo Madlala cha anginazi nina ke umuntu engimaziyo mina ke uBrigadier Modise ilapho ke engazi khona ke ngaye uBrigadier Modise ngase ngimcela ke ukuthi ke awulekelele lo muntu lona ke khona ke sikufunayo kuyena ke ngishilo ke nangaphambili ukuthi ke kwaba khona ke ungavumi nalapho.
Lastly, my lord, I further know that there was a time when the provincial detectives were working hand in glove with DPCI, and I saw that in the docket. All this I'm referring to the docket, my lord, because there was a time where Major General Mukotedi was participating, I don't know whether it was a reconstruction or some form of activities with the provincial detectives. So there was also that joint type of an investigation team.
So the detectives were working hand in glove with office
DPCI.
Thank you. Futhi ke abaseshi ke besifunda babesebenza ke noma besebenza ke ndawonye kanye naye ke DPCI phecelezi ke ama-Hawks. Ngiyazi ke ukuthi kuna Major General Mukotedi ke naye ke owaye khona ke noma ke eyingxenye ke lapho ila ababesebenzisana khona ke nabaseshi besifunda.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, your further testimony is that your team, where now you assist with the matter, this occurred on the 12th of November 2018. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord. That's when I signed for the docket after being appointed by the previous National Commissioner General Stole.
Yebo kwakungayi-12 November 2018 ke ingalelo langa ke engasayinda ngalo ke ngisayindela ke idocket emuva kokuthi sengiqokiwe ke yilowo wawungumkomishina ngaleso sikhathi uGeneral Sithole.
And that the officers that were tasked with you were three more, that is Ramohala, Colonel Buthelezi, Warrant Officer Makubo, and yourself. So there were four of you. That's correct?
It was four of us, that's correct, my lord, in a sense that was the specific members, but the cold case unit, which was under my control, my lord, was tasked, in other words, handling this matter. Colonel Ramohala was part of the cold case unit. Yes. It is these two members who were seconded to the unit to assist specifically in this investigation, but the unit itself, which didn't have many members, I think it was myself, Colonel Ramohala, Sergeant Mokhane, Sergeant Mohula, I think we're 4 or 5, my lord. So we're tasked to lead that. So all the resources or equipments that were needed were coming from that. But seconds to that, it was then these two members who were then said must work specifically with the case of Senzo Meyiwa, my lord.
Kodwa osho ukuthi ke ninake nobanye uwena ke uLieutenant Colonel Ramohala uButhelezi kanye noMakhubo ke kwakuyinina ke mina noba u4 basebenza ngale cala. Okwenzeka ke ukuthi ke i-cold case unit lena engaphansi kwami ke noma ke engiholayo ke kwakuyiyona ke manje enikezwe umsebenzi ukuthi ke ayiphenye lelicala kwakuyimina ngiyazi ukuthi asiba u4 imina uKolonel Ramohala uSergeant Mohula kanye uSergeant Mokhane kwase kuthi laba ababili ke nabo ke bese fakwa-ke nabo-ke ukuthi-ke abalekeleleke ukuphenywa kwaleli cala likasenzo Meyiwa.
But to put it into correct context, my lord, the communication during that appointment referred to the four of us, meaning myself, Colonel Ramohala, Warrant Officer Makubo, and Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi.
Kodwa-ke uma manje-ke sekukhishwa-ke izwi-ke manje liphumela thina-ke soba u-4 imina, uLieutenant Colonel Ramohala, Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi kanye no-Warrant Officer Makubo.
And as you now state, as you had previously stated, Warrant Officer Makubo is seconded from DPCI, and Colonel Buthelezi is seconded from the psychology unit of the SAPS based in Pretoria. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
Nanjengoba usho-ke kwase-ke manje kuvela-ke nalamagama amabili-ke u-Warrant Officer Makubo yena-ke obuya-ke ku-DPCI ama-Hawks kanye futhi-ke naye uLieutenant Colonel Buthelezi obuya-ke kule unit-ke ye-psychology ela ePretoria. Yebo kuyiqiniso.
And thereafter, as one of the leading investigators, you then make a conscious decision that all 4 leading members, I'm not speaking about Mohani Mohola and the others, yourself, Buthelezi, Warrant Officer Makubo, and Captain Ramohala, must be availed with copies of 63610 for bouncing off idea purposes regarding the direction of the case, correct?
That is partly correct, my lord. It's correct in the sense of the last part, which talks to bouncing off the ideas insofar as what the docket tells us, making the copies. That is correct. But the first assertion that the 4 of us were leading investigating officers, it's incorrect. The mandate was very clear, and the ranking structure was also very clear. I was the most senior person at that time. I was the full colonel. There was no full colonel in that structure. I was the most senior person, and I was appointed as such as the lead investigating officers. These other 3 members were part of the investigation team in terms of the listing, but not as lead investigating officers, my lord.
Manje-ke bese kuthi-ke nanjengoba ushilo ukuthi nanjengoba nina-ke nihola-ke noma u-4-ke nikuyinina-ke abaholayo-ke uphenyo lolu-ke ukuthi-ke manje-ke nasenikezana amakhophi-ke amadokodo ukuthi-ke manje-ke anikhombisane-ke noma nixoxisane-ke nibonisane ukuthi-ke uphenyo lolu aluye ngakuluphi-ke uhlangothi. Yebo lokho okwesibili-ke kona-ke ukuthi-ke tshelana noma sixoxisaneke ukuthi-ke icala noma uphenyo luya ngakuluphi uhlangothi kuyiqiniso. Kodwa-ke mayelana nalokhu kokuqala okushilo kakusilona-ke iqiniso kona-ke ukuthi yebo kusasiba u-4 ekuyithina-ke ithimba eliphenyayo, kodwa-ke kwakuyimina-ke wayephezulu-ke ngesikhundla ngangiyi-colonel ophelele-ke ngaleso sikhathi leso, futhi-ke kwakuyimina oholayo-ke noma-ke ohamba phambili-ke ngophenya kwecala.
Okay, I accept that correction that you were the main lead investigator. And your testimony further is that during the course of discussions amongst the investigative team, it became quite clear that there were differences of opinion between, on the one hand, yourself, Ramohala, agreeing, and on the other hand, Warrant Officer Makubo and Colonel Buthelezi disagreeing. Is that correct?
Yes, it became very clear, my lord.
Mase liqhubeka-ke manje uphenyo-ke kwaye kwacaca bha-ke ukuthi-ke manje kukhona-ke ungaboni ngasonye kulona-ke ithimba leli eliphenyayo-ke wena-ke Ramohala bese futhi Makubo-ke kanye naye-ke uButhelezi. Yebo lokho kwacaca ukuthi yebo kwakhona-ke ungaboni ngasonye.
And the differences of opinion according to your testimony were regarding the theory of the case, namely the theory whether or not there were intruders in the house, if there were intruders or if there were no intruders. You and Ramohala believing that there were intruders, and Warrant Officer Buthelezi, Makubo, and Colonel Buthelezi disagreeing, saying there were no intruders. Is that correct?
It is correct, my lord, but it later became clear when, like I said, when I read 375, the docket 375, that there was also, as I said, a statement that seems to, not seem, it says that the statement given to Mr. Thorpe or taken by me is actually not in the docket. And the assertion that was given, and which I think that's where these allegations were coming from, it was to an extent that it was creating an impression that Mr. Thorpe gave a statement that would have been a breakthrough in this matter, and that statement somehow was not filed in the docket by me. And that assertion, and I think that at that time, obviously I was not aware of what is contained at docket 37. It was not even open, but subsequently it was open, and I saw that. So I don't know where it's coming from, my lord, but it was there. But it also created the wage, because there was this suspicion where I was not confronted to say, but Colonel, there's a belief that you took a statement. Where's the statement? So there was that. I'm saying in addition to it, my lord, it was in the background, but later then I came to know that this is that. But yes, there were difference of opinion, and those opinions, those difference of opinion were in existence right up to the 29 when we had that meeting at the DPP's office, the 29th of January 2019, with the team, meaning Waranto Samakubo, Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, under the lead of Brigadier Perumal. It was clear that Brigadier Perumal was saying, insofar as docket 636 of 10/2014, we are still investigating. I remember that the two members in that meeting to the DPP, their assertion was that insofar as that docket, which, like I said, my lord, I saw the file, they were saying the investigation is concluded and, they want a decision. So that was just a confirmation that there was really difference of opinion, even the approach.
375 concluded.
Yes, okay. On the 29th of
January
2019.
Yebo kuyiqiniso lokho ukuthi ke kwakukhona ke ukungibuzana ke noma ke ukungaboni ke ngasonyeke mayelana ke naloko ukuthi ke uma echaza ke uMr Ramsipile ukuthi ke wena ke kanye naye ke uLamuhala nani sho ke ukuthi ke nina ke niyakholelwa ke noma ke niyavuma ukuthi ngempela bakhona abantu abangena bese ukuthi yena ke uMakhubo kanye naye ke uButhelezi bethi bona ke cha lokho leyo nkulumo leyo abahambisaniyo ke nayo bona bethi ke cha abekho abantu abangena khona lapha kona lokho ngempela ke kuyiqiniso nanje bangishilo ke nangaphambili ukuthi ke kwakukhona ke nalenkulumo ke kodwa ke akaze kuziwe ke kumina ke kuthiwa Colonel kune statement owasithatha kuyena ke uhlophe leso statement leso ke asisiboni kodwa nje kwakuyintsolo izinto ke engayibona ke kulona ke idokodo lelo ingapho ke manje sengalungisa ke khona lokho futhi ke kunawo ke nomhlangano owawukhona ke bange 29 zika January 2019 kanye naye ke uBrigadier Perman la ekwakushiwo ke khona ukuthi ke uphenyo ku63610 2014 luyaqhubeka bese kuthi ke nalamalunga amanye amabili ke khulunywa ngaye ke uMakhubo kanye noButhelezi bethi cha uphenyo ke ngakuleli ke idokodo elu375 bona ke basho ukuthi ke cha lapho ke uphenyo seluqediwe akusekho phenyo olwenziwayo.
And you stated that as a result of the differences, Warrant Officer Makhubo and Colonel Buthelezi then went their separate ways, where they then removed officially from the investigation of 636 of 10/2014.
My lord, they went their separate ways. I wouldn't say, I was the lead investigating officer, so at no stage did I say to them they should not form part of the team. It just happened, my lord, that they were not coming through, there were no reports coming. It was clear that there were a lot of trust issues, my lord. So they just went a separate way, my lord.
Ukusho ukuthi ke manje ke uyena ke uwarrant officer Makhubo kanye naye ke uLieutenant Colonel Buthelezi ke manje base ke bephumela ke ngezabo ke indlela ke ukuthi ke manje ngabe ukhona yini umlomo owasho noma ke owakhishwa ukuthi ke cha abangasibiyona ke ingxenye manje yalo uphenyo lolu cha mina ke nanjengoyena ke wayehola ithimba leli eliphenyayo ke angaze ngisho ke kubona ukuthi cha ke manje abasuke ke bangabiyona ke ingxenye ukuthi nje bona ibona ke nje abathatha isinqumo sokuthi ke kwangani ama report ayingasezi ukubona ukuthi futhi ke nokuthembana ke akusekho.
So, sorry, my lord, just to add on that, this is the reason why I said in my evidence in chief, the appointment of Brigadier Perumal was then brought in. The purpose was to be the coordinator between the SAPS and the NPA, but most importantly, it was for him to come with fresh pairs of eyes to look into this docket 636 as well as the 375 because it was in existence at the time, and then brief the National Commissioner in terms of these differences that were apparent. I gave Brigadier Perumal this docket. That is actually the only time also where the docket was out of my hand when he made copies of this. I do know, my lord, as I've said in evidence in chief, that he didn't manage to get hold of the docket 375. There was resistance and he never got it.
Ilapho ke noma ke bengishilo ngaphambilini ukuthi ke kwangenxa yaleso sizathu ke la kwalethwa khona ke uBrigadier Perumal ukuthi ke kuze ke manje ke amehlo amashake la ezobheka khona ke azothatha u636 10 of 2014 ambuke abese thatha futhi nelinye leli ke idokodo u375 ambuke ke abese yabe asho ke ukuthi yena uthini ke manje nanje ngoba kukhona ke lokhu ukuthi kunalo mehluko okhona ke kulamadokodo amabili ke ngase ngimnikeza mina ke babe senikeza ngovo lwakhe ngamnikeza ke mina leli idokodo u636 isona sikhathi kuphela ke la idokodo leli alingekho esandleni sami ukuthi ke enze amakhophi alo kodwa ke idokodo leli u375 lona ke akaze alithole noma ke babe ngavumi ke ukuthi bamnike.
So my lord, just to qualify, when I say it's the only time the docket was out of my hand, I'm referring other than the times when it went to the DPP, both in Johannesburg and here in Pretoria.
Futhi ke uma ngathi ngithi ke isona sikhathi ke la idokodo sasilingekho kumina ke ngikhuluma ke ngaphandle kwesikhathi la khona ke idokodo ngangilithatha ngilise kuma office abeshushisi la ePitori kanye nase Johannesburg.
Now that and emanating from your answer as to Warrant Officer Makhubo, Colonel Buthelezi not reporting back to you as the investigating officer, and the fact that they do have copies of 636 each on them, does that mean there was a parallel investigation by yourself and Makhubo and Buthelezi and yourself and Ramohala and Buthelezi and Makhubo on this matter?
I wouldn't say there was a parallel investigation. My lord, as I said, the lines of engagement, and that is the protocol, because I was not told officially there's a parallel investigation. When an instruction is given that this is the lead investigating officer, that is instruction. Protocol must be observed. That is now the discipline that we are taught in the police. Secondly, the chain of command in terms of seniority was very clear as to who is the leading investigating officer, other than the appointment itself. So there is no parallel investigation that I'm aware of. That's to answer Mr. Ramsipile's question. Secondly, there is only one docket, my lord, that relates to the death of Senzo Meyiwa, and that is docket 636, Phosphorus 636 of 10/2014. What I know insofar as what could be termed parallel, and I don't know how, my lord, is that docket 375 of 1/2019 was then opened, and I've heard this assertion that is parallel, but as I said in my evidence in chief, that is a docket of defeating the end of justice, not murder. So I'm not sure how the two can be parallel, because this is murder, this is defeating. This occurs in 2014, the docket of defeating gets opened in 2019. So I'm not aware, my lord. I know that there's been this talk that parallel, but there's no parallel insofar as I know, my lord.
Ngabe lokho kusho ukuthi ke uma uthi ke amakhophi ke noma ke uwarrant officer Makhubo kanye naye ke uLieutenant Colonel Buthelezi benamakhophi ke alelo dokodo leli u63610 of 2019 ukuthi nanje ngoba wena ke la noRamohala kolunye uhlangothi niphenya nabo ke bayaphenya kolunye uhlangothi baphenya ngalo idokodo leli u63610 of 2014 yena ke uMakhubo kanye naye ke uButhelezi lokho ke angikwazi ukuthi babenzo lwabo uphenyo ngale nkathi thina senza ke uphenyo ngoba ke uma nkathi ke ngiqokwa ke ukuthi beyimina ongumholi lana ke ngokwasemaphoyiseni ke kunalokho kubizwa ngokuthi ke ubusinya ke noma ke ama-rank, futhi ke neindlela ke safundiswa ngayo leyo ukuthi kwakuyimina owaqokwa nanjengo oyinhloko kwithimba eliphenyayo futhi ke nama-rank nawo ke ecacile. Uma ke manje sesikhuluma ke ngalo leli ke idokodo eliwu3751 of 2019 uma lona ke livulwa ngayo u2019 lapho ke icala ke lapho kwakuphazamisana nokusebenza komthetho lana ke ku63610 of 2014 kuphenywa icala lokubulala. Angazi ke manje ukuthi ke ukuphenya lokho okuhambisanayo kanjani uma amacala ehlukene.
Lastly, my lord, on that aspect, as I've said again, that on the 29th of January 2019, when we met at the DPP's office, Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi and Warrant Officer Makhubo, the docket that I saw, not perusing it but seeing the file, that they said, and obviously I picked it up during the discussion between Brigadier Perumal, the DPP and them. As I said, it was not a conducive meeting, but I do recall that the docket that they brought forward or said we are done with the investigation, it was in relation to 375 of 1/2019. I did not see them or hear them or observe them saying, here's 375 and here's the district docket. They were simply referring to 375, and that is why I'm saying I'm not aware of any parallel investigation. Hence, on our side, meaning Brigadier Perumal and Novia Sawazini's company, insofar as this matter, we're far from over, my lord, at that time.
Okunye futhi engakusho ukuthi ngaye uJanuary ka2019 kathi ke uLieutenant Colonel Buthelezi kanye naye ke warrant officer Makhubo kuleyo mhlangano lowo ebengikhulumile ngayo kanye naye ke uBrigadier Peruman khulumisana kwabo ke kanye ke nabeshushisi iDPP kanye futhi nabo ke hayi ukuthi idokote ngalithatha ke ngalibuka kodwa ke idokote ngalibona ke beze nalo ke bekhuluma ngalo kwakuyona u375 abashongo ke ukuthi siphethe u375 ngala siphethe yena ke u636 yila abasho khona ke ukuthi mayelana naleli ke idokote u375 thina ke sesiqedile ukuphenya ngaleso sikhathi ke kolothu uhlangothi ke ngikhulumina ke kanye ke noBrigadier Peruman sasisekude ke ngokuthi ke singasho ukuthi sesiqedile ukuphenya u63610 2014.
You further stated that Makhubo and Buthelezi are the current investigators of 37501 of 2019.
Yes, my lord, as far as I know, correct.
Yebo ngokwazi kwami ke uwarrant officer Makhubo kanye naye ke uLieutenant Colonel Buthelezi bona ke abaphenya u3751 ka2019.
And further that the A1, the complainant in 37501 2019, according to the information you have, is warrant officer Makhubo.
Yes, I said, my lord, specifically according to the system, in other words, the case system of the police, it indicates that it's warrant officer Makhubo, my lord.
It's A1, ne?
Yeah, he's a complainant in short.
Futhi ke kulelo idokodoko u3751 2019 umuntu okuyena ke wafaka icala noma ke owamangala ke noma kuloko kubizwa ngokuthi ke i-case system emaphoyiseni noma ke u-A1 uyena u-warrant officer Makhubo.
And now, having had access to 37501 2019, and by access I'm not saying perusal, I mean the time when you had it, when an order was made that disclosure of that docket should be made available to the defense team in this matter. If you can answer it, you can. If you can't, you can't. Do you know who the suspects are in 37501 of 2019?
My lord, my recollection, and I say this under correction, my recollection, because I want to assist as far as I can, I do know that it will be the people who were inside the house, according to what they allege, and I think Mrs. I don't know whether it's a Miss or Mrs. Piri. That's basically what I recall, my lord.
Uma uwazi ke ungasho uma ungazi ushoke kodwa ingabe uyazi yini ukuthi obani abasolwa kulena ke lolo idokodoke u3751 2019 ngizama ke ukuthi ngilekelele la engwazi khona ke ukuthi ke kwabantu abasendlini ke futhi ke kuyashiwo ke uMiss noma ke uMrs Piri.
Now, at that meeting of the 29th of January 2019 with Brigadier Perumal, the DPP, and yourselves as the investigative team of 636 of 10/2014, what reasons did Makhubo and Buthelezi give for refusing to share that docket with a person appointed by the National Commissioner to come and coordinate 636 of 10 of 2014?
Yeah, my lord, I do not have a clear favoritism in terms of the response, but all I can say is that there was resistance. It should be noted, my lord, like I said, before this meeting of the 29th of January, there was already an engagement telephonically between the Brigadier Perumal and the members, and I was told that there was resistance. So meeting there with the DPP and them, things were not really, it was a tense situation. Like I said, the Brigadier took exception in terms of protocol and discipline, but there were a lot of issues, my lord, which I don't think are relevant for this matter, except to say there was a tension, my lord, and I don't recall the reasons given, my lord.
Manje ke kulo mhlangano wokhona ke wange 29 zika January 2019 uBrigadier Peruman ihhovisi labashushisi i-DPP kanye-ke nethimba lelo elaliphenyake. Ingabe sikhona yini isizathu noma sasithini isizathu esanikezelwa ibona-ke omakhubo kanye naye-ke ubuthelezi bokuthi-ke bengafuni-ke ukuthi banikezeleke ngalo idokodo leliya u-3751 of 2019 kumuntu-ke oqokiwe ukuthi kube uyena-ke manje olekelelayo noma-ke oholayo ukuthi-ke kubhekwe amadokodo lana amabili. Angisakhumbuluke manje ukuthi ngikhumbuleke amazwi ukuthi imaphi-ke amazwi akhishwa ukuthi kwakungani, kodwa ngiyakhumbula ukuthi ngaphambi kwaleyo mhlangano loyo kwakhona-ke ukukhulumisana noma ukuxhumana-ke ngocingo la asho khona-ke manje-ke uPherman ukuthi-ke abazange bavumeke. Mase ukuthi manje ngaleli langa lange-29 January 2019 yila-ke futhi-ke manje ubrigadier futhi-ke senenkinga-ke khona-ke ukuthi-ke manje abantu sebengalandeli-ke ama-protocol-ke noma-ke indlela-ke yokusebenza futhi-ke yila bengavumi khona-ke ukuthi nje cha idokodo benganikezi ngalo ukuthi kwangani isizathu angisakhumbuli.
And that infighting, that those differences between yourself, Ramohala, Buthelezi, Makhubo, what effect, if any, did it have on the adequacy of investigation and the integrity of investigation of 636-10 of 2014?
Well, my lord, I wouldn't say it had any negative effect. One will recall, my lord, that as I said, at the beginning, it was a fact-finding type of a mission. It wasn't, the misunderstanding or the difference of opinion was not insofar as whether there is evidence to link, for example, accused 1 or accused 2 or any of these accused. It was really to dissect and see whether the docket, in terms of what is contained in the docket, not what someone is wishing, my lord, or what allegations are saying, whether the docket, in terms of the evidence contained in the docket, suggests indeed that there were no intruders or there were intruders. So the difference of opinion was insofar as that part, and that is where we walked our separate ways, my lord. So insofar as the investigations that led to the site of these accused and eventually their arrest and the processes that followed, my lord, there was no issues or integrity or even a desire to say we simply followed. And I'm talking about me now, my lord, because I was now leading the team. Without the 2 members, we simply followed the evidence and were guided by what was available at the time. We collected whatever we needed to collect, my lord, within the prescripts of the law. So there was nothing that was done out of those boundaries.
Just a moment. Just a moment, mama. Manje-ke lokuthi-ke kwakunokuhlukana-ke noma-ke nokungqubuzana-ke ukushayisana okwakukhona-ke ingaba umuphi umthelela lokho okwaba nako-ke kulona uphenyo lecala leli. Angeke ngisho-ke umaphendula-ke ufakazi, ngeke ngisho ukuthi kwaba nomthelela-ke owawungemuhle-ke ngoba-ke ukwehluka-ke noma-ke ukushayisana-ke kwendlela-ke sasibona ngayo ngaleso sikhathi kwakungahlangeneke nokuthi mhlambe kuthiwa hayi cha kukhulunywa lana ngomsolo wokuqala noma-ke ubandakanyeka kanjani, kodwa-ke kwakuwukushayisana nje kokuthi-ke ingaba babekhona yini abantu abangena endlini ngalelo langa lela noma cha. Yilokho-ke kwakufuna ukuthi-ke kubonwe-ke uma kuhlanganiswa lamadokodo lana amabili. Kodwa-ke uma manje sekuqhubeka-ke uphenyo-ke noma mina-ke engakwenza-ke ngoba-ke kwakuseyimina-ke manje ohola ithimba-ke ukuthi-ke ngangilandela ubufakazi obabukhona noma-ke ubufakazi enganginabo ngaleso sikhathi nokuthi-ke ngiholwa-ke yilokho okwakukhona kulona idokodo ngaleso sikhathi leso.
Now, just reverting to docket 375 of 01-2019, I know that it's got nothing to do with you, but the question is this. Are you aware that the DPP has yet to take or make a decision on whether or not to prosecute that docket?
As a court, please, my lord, I don't think that is correct. There is a letter to that effect. The DPP has made a decision, and his decision is to hold over a final decision pending the outcome of this matter.
Yes.
As a court pleases, my lord, I do take the response by my learned colleague. If I may, for contextual purposes, my lord, refer the witness to Exhibit Q, which is a directive or correspondence from the DPP dated the 26th of October 2022, and this correspondence was addressed to the erstwhile advocate of all the accused persons before court, Advocate M.D. Tefo. And this is an exhibit of this court, my lord. And I'm not sure whether the contents thereof have been placed on record, but in line with Mafalediso case, my lord, I'll do so here. And it reads, the addressee, like I say, it's Advocate Tefo, and CC is Mr. Toban, who was the instructing attorney in this matter. And it says, dear sir, Ray Foslora's case 375 of 01-2019, S versus Sibia and 4 others, CC 67 of 2020. Paragraph 1 thereof, it reads, the National Director of Public Prosecutions has issued an amended directive on the 22nd of October August 2022 in terms of Section 22, subsection 3 of the National Prosecuting Authority Act 32 of 1998, read with Section 111 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, and also transferring jurisdiction in respect of Foslora's case 375 of 01-2019 from the area of jurisdiction of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Johannesburg, to the area of jurisdiction of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Gauteng Division, Pretoria. The amended directive will be handed up in court. Paragraph 2 thereof. This office is therefore mandated to make a decision in respect of Foslora's case 375 of 01-2019. Paragraph 3 thereof. In the light of the fact that the decision in Foslora's case 375 of 01-2019 depends on the credibility findings by the trial court in the current trial involving Foslora's case 63610 of 2014, I have therefore decided that the decision in Foslora's case 375 of 01-2019 will be made at the conclusion of the current trial. It is thus signed by the DPP of Pretoria, Gauteng Division, Mr. S. Mzinyati.
Kunale ncwadi ke efunda uyena ke baba Msipile eyayibhalelwe ke loyo owayeumeli wenu ke ngaleso sikhathi ke yena Advocate MD Tefo yange 26 ka August 2022. Le ncwadi ke ifundeka ngalendlela ke ophethe ke ihhovisi labashushisi usho lokho noma ke usho lokho kulandelayo ukuthi ngale date 22 August 2022 esho ke umthetho u22 womthetho olawula ke labo ke ekuyibona abashushisayo ukuthi ke mayelana nedokodo ke uFoslora's 3751-2019 lokho ke usho ke ihhovisi labashushisi ngaphansi kwase Johannesburg ukuthi ke le hhovisi leli selithathe isinqumo ke umayelana ke nedokodo u3751-2019 ukuthi ngenxa yokuthi ke u3751-2019 uncikeke ukuthi ke inkantolo kuleli ke icala liu-63610-2014 izonquma kanjani manje ke isinqumo ke ngo3751 ka2019 sizokwenziwa ke uma ngabe sekuqulwe laqedwa icala leli eliu636 eliphambi kwenkantolo njengamanje.
Yes, my lord, I'm aware of this letter.
Yebo incwadi lena ngiyayazi.
My lord, just to correct myself, Advocate Tefo at the time represented only accused 1 to 4, not all of them, my lord.
Ukulungisa ke lokho ngikushilo ngaphambili ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi leso ke uAdvocate Tefo wayemeleke umsolo woqala kuyofica ke kowesine hayi ukuthi wayebamele bonke.
Is a court, please, my lord. Just a correction. Exhibit Q, it's a letter addressed to Advocate Mshololo. It's exactly the same letter, but it is a letter addressed to Advocate Mshololo. This one addressed to Mr. Tefo was not handed up as an exhibit.
Sorry, my lord, because the one that I have, and it may have been an error on my part, is the one that's addressed to Advocate Tefo, I did not have the one that was addressed to Advocate Mushololo, but the essence is that the contents are the same, man.
Yeah.
It mirrors, they mirror each other, man, to the T. Now, the point that I was emphasizing was that this decision in respect of 375, for the people that you say are the people that were in the house essentially, including Maggie Piri, will be made based on the credibility findings made by this court in this matter regarding 375.
Correct, my lord, but it is insofar as the charge of defeating the end of justice, not the murder of Senzo, because the docket is very clear. It's a defeating
Yes,
charge,
yes,
my lord.
yes.
Kodwa ke okushiwo yile ncwadi ke ukuthi isinqumo mayelana naleli dokodo u375 isizothathwa kamuva ke uma le nkantolo ke isithatha isinqumo ngaleli icala u636 yebo, kodwa ngiyafuna ke ukugcizelela ngisho ukuthi lelo idokodo kodwa ke alihlangeneke nokubulawa kwakhe uSenzo Meyiwa, kodwa ke uphazamisa noma kuma ke endleleni yokusebenza komthetho.
If I may get an opportunity to get my bearings on my notes. Okay. Now, before I go to the reasons, because during your evidence in chief, you mentioned several reasons why you say that you and Ramohala believe that there were intruders in the house on the 26th of October 2014 that perpetrated the offense that occurred there, correct?
Well, partly correct, my lord, in that the reasons I given, those were my reasons.
Yes.
I analyzed, like I've said, everyone was given an opportunity to read the document independently. So Ramohala's views come in a sense that he was also of the view that there were people who came into the house, but I did not put it in the context that, my lord, this is what he found, the way I found it. I was simply putting my reasons to say, what is it that convinced me that they were intruders?
Uma bengisho ke ngikhuluma ke ngokuthi ke mina ke noRamohala thina ke sasikholelwa kwabo ukuthi ngempela babe khona abantu abangena ke ukuthi ke umuntu ngamunye ke wanikezwa ke idokodo ukuthi ke ayifundele yena ke mina ke ngasho ukuthi ngokufunda kwami ke ngenxa yale izathu ke ngingla engathola khona ngempela bakhona abantu abangena ke naye ke uRamohala ngokufunda kwakhe ke wase esho lokho naye.
Now, you testified that before coming to this belief that there were intruders, your initial belief as well was that there were no intruders. Am I quoting you correctly?
Yes, you're quoting me correct, but I also qualified it, my lord. I think when I was asked by Advocate Baloyi as to where was it coming from, and I said, basically from what I was briefed, it was not based on facts, it was not factual. When I read the docket, that's when I was able to make a decision based on the facts that were contained on the docket, my lord.
Ubushilo ke nawe ngaphambilini ukuthi nawe ke ubukholelwa ke ekuthini ke cha babengekho abantu abangena ke lapha. Yebo ke ungizwe kahle ke ngishilo ke lokho, kodwa ke ngachaza ke ukuthi babungani ke babunge mayelana nalokho engakutshelwa ke, kodwa manje mase ngikhala phansi sengifunda ke manje sengithola ke amaqiniso ke phecelezi ke ama facts. Ila manje khona ke engashintsha khona ke manje ke umqondo wakhe ngase ngibona ke ngendlela eyahlukile.
And to that extent, I'm not talking about this belief from your part initially that there were no intruders. You made a statement to that effect, is that correct?
I don't think I made a statement, my lord. I think if Mr. Ramsibla said I made one, he can tell me. I don't recall. It was just a thought, like I said, when then, I don't have a recollection of that statement, my lord.
Ngikhumbule ukuthi ke noma ngicabanga futhi ukuthi sikhona ke statement engasenza ke nalokho ke ukuthi ngicabanga ukuthi ke cha babengekho kwakuwumcabango nje kuphela ukuthi cha abekho abantu abangena, kodwa uma ukuthi ke othi sikhona ke ngicela ngikhumbuze.
To be fair to you, the statement is not explicit to state that there were no intruders, but you deposed to a statement on on the 19th of November 2020 at the NATCOM National Commissioner's Pretoria office. The statement was commissioned by Dowelani Dion Molaudzi, who is a detective sergeant, and it was it was commissioned on the 23rd of November 2020 at 15:30 in the afternoon.
My Lord, if it was made in November 2020, I doubt very much if I would have said or created an insinuation that there were no intruders, because if one looks at that date, the matter was already enrolled. In other words, this matter was enrolled on the 26th of October 2020. My recollection, and I think Mr. Ramsipile can refer me to the index number, I'll get to that statement, but I have an idea what he's talking about. The statement I made in November, my Lord, relates to further investigation and the evidence I collected insofar as my request in pursuance, or rather my application to have Kelly Khumalo charged. I think that is a statement, it pertains to that, because I talked to the evidence that I've collected, what is it that I think implicates her in addition to the confessions, and I think I'll talk to the issues of the numbers that were not disclosed. So that statement that I made in November, it is insofar as the application to the DPP to say Ms. Kelly Khumalo should be charged, as he acted as a trigger point. That's my recollection. I don't think I would have said there were no intruders, my Lord.
Uma ke manje ukhuluma ngestatement eke sange in 19 November 2020 uyasho ke Mr. Ramsipile ukuthi sase commissioner ke nge 23 November 2020. Angicabangi ke manje lapho uma uthi ke 2020 la khona ke manje ngani sengicela noma ngisho khona ke ukuthi cha ngangingakholelwa ukuthi bakhona abantu abangena lapho endlini ke, ngoba ngaleso sikhathi ke manje icala ke laliseli noma ke babesebethesiwe ke amacala abasola lalisenkantolo ke. Uma ukhuluma ngaleso statement ngizoyibheka ke inamba yakho ngizoyithola. Cabanga ukuthi ke yila engangisenza khona ke isicelo ukuthi ke akathweswe amacala naye ke uKelly Khumalo. Isicelo leso engizangisenza ke kuyona ke iDPP ihhovisi lalabo abashushisayo ukuthi ke ngenxa ke yokufakaza obukhona ke amanamba lapho ke ngangenza khona leso sicelo sokuthi ke naye akathweswe amacala uMiss Kelly Khumalo.
Yes, my Lord. So in November, my Lord, if I can just assist the court, in November, there's a statement I made on the 20th of November 2020, and no way would I say there were no intruders. And then the next one, like I said, unless Mr. Ramsipile can specifically refer me to it, the next one in November.
The one that I referred to, and let me give you the date and then just give a bit of a background of my understanding, but I want us to go to this statement.
Yes, what is the index number, Mr. Ramsipile?
I don't know what the index number is. On top it says 8225.
Yes, that's the one I have in front of me, with five pages.
It's got, now the one that I have is got 4 pages.
No, 8225, it's 5 pages. So you have 105, it goes.
Mine has got 4 pages, and the paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the paragraphs are sequential until the end, so it cannot be that one.
Is it with 5 paragraphs?
Yeah, it's a big paragraphs, 5 paragraphs.
Yes, that's the one that I have, and that's the evidence. But let me hear you, Mr. Ramsipile. Yes, okay. But I have it in front of me.
Just hear me out, and
yes.
And you are indeed correct. Let me give you that. Regarding the context within which this statement was made, that it was in relation to an application for a Section 43 application, CPA, J50 warrant of arrest in respect of Ms. Kelly Khumalo. But
yes,
I want to go through this with you and put certain questions to you.
Yes.
And this one, because it's typed out, I can read myself. My
yes.
Lord, I've already put the commissioning part on record that it was commissioned by Detective Sergeant Molaudzi, but mine is dated differently, my Lord. It's dated the 19th of November 2020 at 1500, and the commissioning happens on the 23rd of November 2020 at 1530. And with leave of the court, my Lord, may I read this statement on record. Paragraph 1 thereof, it states, I am employed as a police officer in terms of Section 30 of the South African Police Service Act 68 of 1995. I perform my duties under the same act. I am currently stationed at the National Commissioner's Office as the commander of the cold case unit of the National Commissioner with rank of Colonel and service number with telephone number. I'm the leading investigating officer of Fosloras Case 636 of 10/2014, which is a murder case where one Senzo Meyiwa was shot and killed on the 26th of October 2014 between 20:30 and 2100. The deceased was shot at the house belonging to the then his girlfriend, namely Kelly Khumalo. It initially appeared that it was a robbery gone wrong. Witness statements under oath indicated that the two black males entered the house demanding cell phones and money, purporting to be a house robbery. 7 adults and 1 child were present in the house when the accused entered. The witness stated that one of the accused was carrying a firearm purporting to be a revolver. This accused was described as a black male with big eyes, dreadlocks, wearing a khaki or brown jacket or top and a hat. He was shorter in height than the second suspect. The second suspect was described as tall, slender, neatly shaven, and dark in complexion. It is stated under oath that during the robbery in the said house, a struggle ensued between Senzo Meyiwa, the deceased, and the suspect carrying the firearm. 2 shots were fired by the suspect. One of the gun shots hit the deceased Senzo Meyiwa on close range in his chest and exited at the back of his body. The second accused focused on the rest of the witnesses, and in the process, one cellular phone belonging to Miss Kelly Khumalo was robbed by the suspects during the committal of the offense. It is also stated under oath that suspicious suspects wearing specific clothing, amongst others a hoodie, were standing hidden but only a few meters from the crime scene prior to the incident, appearing to be typing on their cell phones. It is stated that the suspect fled on foot and a hat which was worn by the shooter was left on the crime scene. It is equally stated that the suspects hidden away, which is explained to be linked to the offense, was seen running away from the crime scene. Identity kits were compiled through witnesses of these suspects. The victim was rushed to the hospital by the witnesses who were in the house. However, he was declared dead on arrival at the hospital. The incident took place between 20:30 and 2100. The deceased was declared dead on arrival at the hospital at 2115. Paragraph 3. Investigations revealed that the cell phone which was robbed was picked up through cell phone towers until signal was lost, covering the area of Fosloras Hostel. The said phone was never recovered to date or ever switched on again. The evidence explained herein under would indicate that the planning of the offense and gathering after the incident took place at Fosloras Hostel. Investigation which resulted in evidence under oath revealed that the victim was murdered as a contractual assassination or hit rather than a robbery or a robbery gone wrong. Evidence under oath revealed that 6 suspects actively participated in the planning and execution of the contractual murder of Senzo Meyiwa at the directive of Kelly Khumalo. This suspect, in brackets, Nonhlanhla Kelly Khumalo, is first linked by means of confessions that were made by both accused number 1 and 2, as they both implicate her as the person that gave the instructions to kill Senzo Meyiwa. Investigations further revealed that she had 4 other cell numbers that she did not disclose to the police when these incidents took place. The numbers are as follows: 079, bullet point number 1, 079 494 8773. Bullet point number 2, 073 451 5017. Bullet point number 3, 073 388 6730. And the last bullet point, 061 456 2104. Investigations further revealed that she is linked to the actual perpetrators of this murder by means of cell phone linkages. These linkages connect her to accused 3 and 5. It was further discovered that through cell phone analysis that her cell phone memory has the same photo of a see-through bag containing cash notes, and in the exact position, location, and spot as the one of accused 3. Longwetwala has the same bag of money. There is no reasonable explanation as to why Kelly Khumalo will be in contact telephonically with hitmen of her boyfriend. There is also communication records between her and her sister shows that as early as 2013, she wanted to get rid of the deceased, as she puts it clearly on the WhatsApp messages. It is abundantly clear that she hated him and wanted to get rid of him. She further states that she regrets not succeeding to get rid of him before. Taking into account all of these facts, an inference can be drawn that she meant killing him. Paragraph 4. Evidence by means of sworn, corroborating, and independent witness statements establish a causal link between the offenders and the offenses of murder, robbery with aggravating circumstances, possession of unlicensed firearms, and the unlawful possession of ammunition, and conspiracy to commit murder. Ms. Kelly Khumalo seems to be the trigger point of this offense. I hereby apply for the warrant of arrest for Nonhlanhla Kelly Khumalo on charges of conspiracy to commit murder and murder. Paragraph 5, it's the taking of the oath. It is that signed by yourself and commissioned by the commissioner who I have mentioned before, Detective Sergeant Mulawuti.
Yes, my lord.
It's highlighted.
Ive statement ke Mr. Kamsipika qeda usifunda esayenza sabhala uyena ke ubrigadier Sambo 2020 ngisebenza imena ke ohola ithimba labaphenyi kwicala uFosila 636102014 okuyicala ke lokubulala la khona ke uSenzo Meyiwa wadutshulwa wabulawa khona ke ngazo i-26 October 2014 isikhathi phakathi kuka 8:30 kanye ke no9 ebusuku noma ke ntambama. Umufike wadutshulela ke enemuzini ekwakula kwakukibo ke kwalo owayethandana naye ke ngaleso sikhathi uKelly Khumalo. Eqaleni ke kwakubukeka ngokungathi ke kwakuyobanjwa ke inkunzi kodwa ke lokho akwahamba kahle kodwa ke izitatimende zofakazi ke befungile ziyasho ke ukuthi ke kwangena ke abelisa abamnyama ababili befuna ke omakhalekhukhwini kanye futhi ke nemali benza ke ngokungathi ke laba bezobamba khona ke inkunzi abantu ke abadala noma sabekhululeke abawu7 kanye nengane eyodwa babe khona ke endlini lapho uma abasolwa ke bengena ofakazi bayasho ke ukuthi ke oyedwa ke ubona ke abasolwa labo ke wayephethe isibhamu ekwakubukeka ngathi ke kwakuyi revolver loyo ke umsolwa ke bamchaza ke nanje ngomuntu ke noma ke indoda ke umuntu omnyama eyinamehlo amakhulu nama dreadlocks wayefake futhi ke noma ke egqoke ujaketi okhakhi kanye futhi ke noma ke itop kanye futhi ke nesigqoko wayemfishane ke yena ke uma umqhathanisa nalo wesibili umsolwa owesibili umsolwa ke yena kuma bemchaza bathi ke wayemude ke futhi ke ezacile futhi ke egunde nje kahle futhi ke bemchaza ukuthi ke wayedakhi ke ngebala bayasho ke futhi befungile ukuthi ke ngaleso sikhathi leso ke kubanjwa ke inkunzi kuloyo muzi lowo kunala ekwalwisana khona ke phakathi kwakhe uSenzo umufi kanye futhi ke nomsola loyo owayephethe isibhamu isibhamu lapho ke saqhuma ke saqhunyiswa ke amahlandla amabili uyena umsolwa ihlandla elilodwa ke lapho lashaya yena ke umufi uSenzo Meyiwa umshayela ke eduze esifubeni lase yophuma ke inhlamvu emuva noma ke emhlane kuyena owesibili ke umsolwa yena ke wayebhekene nabanye abantu laba ababephakathi ke endlini noma ofakazi ke kulokho ke kwathathwa ke umakhalekhukhwini oyedwa okwakuwo wakhe uMiskeli Khumalo uthathwa uyena ke umsolwa kathi ke kwenzeka ke lokho bayasho ke futhi befungile uthi abanye ke abasolwa ke ekwabe noma ke babanye abantu ababesoleka ke bona ke ababefake babegqoke okuthize phakathi kwabo ihudi bona ke babeyimele futhi ke ubona ukuthi bacashileke kuma mitha nje ambalwa ke kusukela nala isigameko sasenzeka khona njengaphambi kokuthi noma ngaphambi kokuthi isigameko leso ke senzeke bebukeka ngathi abantu ababebhala komakhalekhukhwini babo kuyashiwo futhi ukuthi ke uma abasolwa ke noma emuva kwesiganeko leso babaleka ke ngazo inyawo kanye futhi ke isigqoko somunye ke umsolwa ke noma ke esasigqoke umsolwa lowo okuyena ke owadubula sasala ke ngaphakathi endlini lapho bayasho futhi ukuthi ke abasolwa ukuthi ke abasolwa labo ke ababeyifihleleke futhi abahlanganiswayo ke naso isigameko leso babona ke nabo bebaleka ke besuka kwindawo leyo yesigameko kunala khona ke ekwasekuhlanganiswa noma ke kudwetshwa khona ke lokho kubizwa ngokuthi phecelezi ke ama identity kit ibona ke ofakazi bedweba bona ke abasolwa wathathwa ke umufi ke wahanjiswa ke esibhedlele ibona ofakazi ababephakathi ke endlini kodwa ke uma kufika ke esibhedlele noma ke emtholampilo ila ekwashiwo khona ke ukuthi cha akasekho noma ke akasekho emhlabeni isigameko lokho sesenzeka phakathi ke kuka 8:30 kanye ke no9 ebusuku umufi ke kwashiwo ke ukuthi ke noma batshelwa ke ukuthi useshonile ngaye u21:15 noma ke u9 ebusuku uphenyo ke lona ke lwaveza ke noma ke lwatshengisa ke ukuthi umakhalekhukhwini lo owathathwa ke khona lapho noma ke owabanjwa inkunzi khona lapho uma kusetshenziswa ke amathawa ila oyatholwa khona isignal ukuthi ke wawukwindawo yase Phosphorus ehostel khona ke lo makhalekhukhwini lo awukazeke utholakale kuze kube manje noma uphinde futhi ke usebenzeke ubufakazi buyasho futhi ke ukuthi ke ukuhlelwa ke kwaso isigameko lesi kwenzeka noma ke uma sekuyohlanganwa ke emuva kwesigameko lokho kwenzeka ehostel yase Phosphorus uphenyo futhi ke uphenyo olaholela-ke ekuthini kube nobufakazi-ke obufungele buyaveza-ke ukuthi uma ngabe ebulawa-ke umufi-ke ukuthi-ke into-ke leyo eyayihleliwe-ke kodwa kwakungasikona ukuthi kuyobanjwa inkunzi noma-ke kwahamba akuzange kuhambe ngendlela kodwa kwakuyobanjwa inkunzi kodwa kwakuyinto ehleliwe. Ubufakazi futhi-ke obufungelwe-ke buyaveza-ke ukuthi abasolwa abayisithupha yibona-ke babe yingxenye ekuhleleni kanye futhi nokuthi-ke kwenziwe ukuthi noma kwenzeke-ke lokho ukuthi-ke abulawe-ke yena uSenzo Meyiwa, lokho kuphuma kuyena Khumalo. Lo msolwa lona-ke uNonhlanhla Khumalo okokuqala-ke uhlanganiswa ngey'tatimende-ke zogonyuluka ezenziwa-ke abasolwa ababini owokuqala kanye nowesibili. Nanjengoba bobabili-ke besho-ke ukuthi uyena-ke umuntu owakhipha-ke izwi lokuthi-ke uSenzo Meyiwa akabulawe. Uphenyo futhi-ke olufungelwe, uphenyo futhi-ke liyaveza-ke ukuthi wayenomakhalekhukhwini abawu-4 noma amanamba amane angazange awasho noma-ke awatshele amaphoyisa ngazo lezo zinamba lezo nkathi isigameko leso senzeka. Lawo manamba-ke yila 0794948773, 0734515017, 0733886730, 0614562104. Luyaqhubeka-ke uphenyo luveze ukuthi-ke uhlanganiswa-ke nokubulawa kwakhe-ke umufi-ke ngokuxhumana-ke ngomakhalekhukhwini kanye futhi-ke lokho kumhlanganisa naye-ke umsolwa wesithathu kanye nowesihlanu. Okunye futhi okwatholakala-ke ngokucwaninga kwabo omakhalekhukhwini ukuthi-ke i-cellphone yakhe noma-ke kwi-albamu-ke i-memory album yakhe-ke unesithombe-ke la isithombe leso nesikhwama-ke okwaziyo ukubona ngaphakathi kusona-ke esasinemali ngaphakathi ngendlela nje efanayo noma-ke iposition efanayo kanye futhi nendawo njengaleso esatholakala noma-ke kumakhalekhukhwini wakhe umsolwa wesithathu uLongwethwala naye-ke enaleso sikhwama leso semali. Asikho-ke isizathu noma-ke ukuchazeka-ke okuzwakalayo ukuthi kungani Khumalo engathi-ke axhumaneke nabantu ekuyibona abantu abadubula-ke noma ababulala-ke loyo awayethandana naye. Kukhona futhi-ke nokuxhumana-ke noma-ke ama-records phakathi kwakhe kanye nodadewabo okutshengisa ukuthi kusukela ngo-2013 wayefuna-ke ukuthi-ke amgudluzeke umufi. Nanjengoba esho-ke kuyena-ke kuma-messages ka-WhatsApp kucace ba ukuthi-ke wayemzonda futhi-ke efuna ukuthi-ke amgudluze. Uyasho futhi-ke ukuthi-ke uyayisola ngokuthi-ke engazange aphumeleleke ngokuthi amgudluze ngaphambili. Uma-ke uthatha lokhu-ke kanye futhi nawo onke amaqiniso-ke akukho okunye-ke ongacabangela-ke ngaphandle kokuthi-ke Khumalo kwakuyinhloso yakhe-ke ukuthi ambulale. Ubufakazi obufungelwe obuxhumanisayo-ke futhi kanye futhi-ke nofakazi abayimele buyasho-ke ukuthi kwakukhona-ke ukuhlangana okwakukhona phakathi kwalabo abakwenza-ke lokhu kanye ukubulala noma-ke inhloso kwakukubulala, ukubamba inkunzi, tholakala futhi ney'bhamu kanye futhi-ke ngokungekho emthethweni kanye futhi nazo-ke iy'nhlamvu ukuthi-ke kubulawe. uMiss Khumalo-ke kuyabonakala-ke ukuthi kwaba uyena-ke umuntu oqala-ke noma-ke owayephambili-ke kukona konke lokho. Yingakho-ke ngenza lesi sicelo-ke isicelo sencwadi yokuthi-ke aboshwe-ke uNonhlanhla Khumalo kuyinhlolo zokubulala.
Thank you, Mr. Jonas. Now, Brigadier, I want us to go back to the statement and I want to put certain questions to you. Before I do you still maintain the truthfulness of this statement?
Yes, I do, my lord.
Ukuthi-ke lokho okubhalwe kule statement kuyiqiniso-ke ngisamile kona lokho.
Now, at paragraph 2, where it says, it initially appeared to be that it was a robbery gone wrong. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, my lord. If one looks at the statement, and I think I dealt with this part, that when I was doing the analysis stage, but this analysis was based on what is contained on the docket. statements of the people who were in the house are clearly indicating that the perpetrators, the alleged perpetrators who came in, demanded cell phones and money. There was no indication, if you look in those statements, that there was an intention, there was a contractual arrangement to eliminate the deceased, my lord. It was an issue of a robbery that would have went wrong, and subsequently the deceased was shot. That assertion in paragraph 2, I base it on the facts that are contained in the statements disposed by the people who were inside the house, my lord.
Lana engibhale khona-ke noma ke ekubhalwe khona-ke ku-paragraph 2 ukuthi-ke ekuqaleni-ke kwakubukeka-ke engathi-ke kwakuzobanjwa inkunzi-ke kodwa-ke lokho-ke akwahamba-ke ngendlela. Uma ubheka-ke noma ubuka-ke iy'tatimende zabo ofakazi ey'khona-ke kudokodo bayasho-ke ukuthi abantu-ke ababili labo abangena endlini bafuna-ke omakhalekhukhwini bafuna-ke nemali. Akukho la khona-ke basho khona-ke ukuthi-ke cha kwakuzobulawa lo muntu kodwa-ke lokho akwahamba kahle-ke. Uma ubuka nje lokho kodwa nje ukuthi-ke kwafuna imali kwafuna omakhalekhukhwini kwase kudubuleka yena-ke umufi. Lokho kukutshela-ke noma kutshengisa-ke ukuthi-ke kwakuzobanjwa inkunzi kodwa-ke akwahamba ngendlela.
And where it says 7 adults and 1 child were present in the house when the accused entered. In hindsight, now that we know, how many kids were in the house?
My lord, at the time I thought there was 1, but I do know that it was brought to my attention that there were 2 children. So the adults includes the deceased, but the children, which I did not confirm, but it was brought to my attention that there may have been another child belonging either to Ms. Kelly Khumalo. I'm not so sure, but there was make mention of a second child, my lord. But personally, I have not independently confirmed that, my lord.
Yebo-ke la khulunywa khona-ke ngabantu-ke abadala-ke abayisikhombisa kanye nengane eyodwa-ke kodwa-ke kamuva-ke ngasengitshelwa-ke ukuthi-ke kwangenzeka-ke ukuthi wayekhona-ke noma yayikhona eyesibili-ke ingane kodwa mina-ke angikaze nje zenzela leso siqinisekiso kodwa-ke ngatshelwa ukuthi kwangenzeka ukuthi yayikhona-ke eyesibili ingane.
And then I read the sentence beneath that, which says, the witnesses stated that one of the accused was carrying a firearm purporting to be a revolver. Which witnesses mentioned that one of the suspects possessed a revolver?
My lord, I may not recall the names, but they do indicate the witnesses, and I'll have to go through now the A1s if I must, so that I can specify. But the witnesses who were inside the house, they do indicate that the people were carrying some type of a revolver, a firearm with a wheel. And subsequently, there were statements taken by that investigating team to try and correct it, where people were also coming and saying they have no experience of identifying whether it's a revolver or not. So this is contained in the statement. So if I need to specify which witness, I'll have to go through their statements, my lord. But it is contained in the statements of the people that were inside the house.
Ngiyaqhubeka ukufunda ukuthi-ke ofakazi-ke basho-ke ukuthi omunye wabasolwa-ke wayephethe isibhamu okwakubukeka ngathi-ke i-revolver. Imuphi-ke ufakazi owakusho lokho noma yibaphi ofakazi abakusho? Kuzofaneleka-ke ukuthi manje ngibheke-ke lama-statements abizwa ngokuthi phecelezi-ke ama-A1. Kodwa-ke uma ngabe babechaza-ke babesho-ke ukuthi omunye wabo wayephethe-ke isibhamu-ke esasi nesondo, kwafanele ukuthi-ke futhi-ke la kuphinde kuyolungiswa-ke lokho la bashoyo khona ukuthi abazi lutho-ke bona ngebhamu ukuthi bangasichazana. Kuzofanele kodwa ngibheke ukuthi yibaphi ofakazi abakusho lokho.
Yes.
For the sake of brevity, Brigadier, I am absolutely interested in the witnesses that mentioned in their statements that they saw what a firearm that is a revolver. But I'm not going to make you go through all the A1s in this court now. I'll pack it and I'll do that as a homework for myself and yourself, so that when we come on Wednesday next week, we revisit this point. I'll also go and verify of all the people that were in the house except the deceased, who says they saw a revolver, because this is a pivotal point in this case.
Indeed, my lord, but I can say it without a shadow of a doubt, my lord. Even if the name revolver, and I agree with Mr. Ramsipe, let us do that. Even if the name revolver specifically may not have been used, but I'm not saying it was not used. I do recall without a shadow of a doubt that someone says it's a firearm with a wheel. Now, a firearm with a wheel is a revolver. I was trained in firearms, I know what it means, but I agree. Perhaps let us look into those statements and come and address the court accordingly.
Lokho khona-ke ngingakusho nje ngaphandle komgaba zami ukuthi ukhona-ke owakusho noma ke ngasakhumbula ukuthi ubani-ke ukuthi wakhuluma ngesibhamu esinesondo-ke mina nanjengomuntu owaqeqeshwa-ke ngebhamu ngiyazazi-ke ibhamu ukuthi-ke isibhamu esinesondo i-revolver.
And in supplementation of that homework that we are going to do, I may, in the meantime, refer you to Exhibit J, which is A46, which is a report by the facial image analyst, warrant officer Amanda Yvonne Steenkamp, who initially compiled the identity kits, which part of which form Exhibit BB, but I want us to go to Exhibit J.
Must we go there now?
Yes.
All right. Yes, I am on A46, my lord.
Okay. My lord, I'm not sure as well with this whether it was referred to in passing during the evidence in chief previously, or whether the contents thereof were actually placed on record. So I think, my lord, for the sake of completeness, I will also have to read the contents of this statement on record, and the specific aspect thereof that I'm concerned with is the witnesses that Warrant Officer Steenkamp worked with to compile this identity kit and the firearm that they described to Warrant Officer Steenkamp. And on the first page, which is this one, it simply says facial image analysis. Yes. And page 2 thereof, it says Fosler-Ras CAS 636 of 10/2014 murder and robbery. And it says, I, Amanda Yvonne Steenkamp, do hereby state under oath that, and occupation and position in the South African Police. I am a warrant officer in the South African Police, force number, I won't mention it, stationed at the Facial Identification Unit at the LCRC in Pretoria, that is the local criminal record center in Pretoria, Protea Glen, where I am employed as a facial identification specialist with telephone number that I'm not gonna put on record. Qualifications and experience. I have 22 years service in the South African Police since 1991. I'm employed as a facial identification specialist at the South African Facial Identification Section since 1997. The functions I perform on a daily basis include the following: facial compilations, facial comparisons, and facial mappings, two-dimensional facial reconstructions of decomposed bodies and facial aging. I received training in the facial identification functions at the CRC, which I presume is the Criminal Record Center Training Section in Pretoria, and received facial identification specialist status during 1998. I received scarcity skills allowance for facial identification functions. I'm a facial identification section commander at Protea Glen Facial Identification Office. I am responsible for managing the section at Protea Glen. My responsibilities involve the managing of the section 24-hour inspection, pocketbook, logbook, and case docket inspection of the member under my command. I compiled thousands of facial compilations, sketches, and two-dimensional reconstructions of decomposed faces, and since 2012, comparisons on a daily basis. I gave lectures at training institutes to investigating officers and in-service training to new facial identification members. On the 11th of March 2014, I testified in an armed robbery case in Krugersdorp Cars 234 of 08 of 2012 and Randfontein Cars 348 of 08 2012. The accused, Olani Fihlani, was found guilty on the expert evidence in Protea Regional Court 7, Cars 43 of 1495 2013. And she goes on to put her training and qualification, which I'll read for record so that when she is called, this is not repeated. I also received the following relevant training within the South African Police. 1997, a 3-week training course in the facial identification field, interviewing and ID kit 2000 software and Adobe Photoshop. 1998, ISUS, that is ISUS, course, individuals, structures, activities, and extended research. 2008, an FARC course, that is facial and cranial anatomy, that's got to do with the face, University of Pretoria, presented by Professor M. Stein. 2008, the facial identification workshop, in brackets, eFit, that is capital E and FIT, and Phantom and Composite Lab and Adobe Photoshop software, close brackets. 2010, the eFit software course, in brackets, presented by Dr. Chris Solomons, the Vision Metric Forensic Imaging, University of Kent in Scotland, close brackets. In 2010, the facial aging course, presented by Captain Brias, that is BRIERS, in brackets. In 2011, the basic police training at the Chatsworth Police Academy in KwaZulu-Natal. In 2012, the advanced facial image mapping and comparison course hosted by the Forensic Anthropology Research Center at the Department of Anatomy, University of Pretoria, presented by Professor Caroline Wilkinson, that is WILKENSON, University in brackets of Dundee, Scotland. And then in 2013, the refresher course in craniofacial identification and facial comparison and photography, University of Pretoria, presented in brackets by Professor Stein, M. Stein. And then the paragraph 4 thereof, it still states the case number and her names, and she states under oath as follows. On Monday, the 24th of October, on Monday, the 2014, 10/29, I was called out to Vosloorus detectives accompanied by Lieutenant Colonel M.J. Streicher, that is STREICHER, Operational Commander Proteadlen, LCRC, to interview witnesses in case 676-1024 Vosloorus. I think that's a mistake there, but I read it as it is. Murder and armed robbery. I interviewed several witnesses individually. My first witness was Kelly Khumalo. Kelly told me in short that she and the deceased walked to the convenience store. Upon return, Kelly, deceased family member and friends had a smoke outside the house. Mrs. Khumalo called them inside to say goodbye. They sit down and start chatting again. Kelly was sitting near the kitchen when she saw two unknown African males entering the house. Suspect A, capital A in brackets, appeared, entering. Kelly was sitting near the kitchen when she saw two unknown African males entering the house. Suspect capital A in brackets appeared very aggressive and demanded cell phones and money. This suspect was approached by Kelly and the deceased jumped up towards suspect A. A scuffle between suspect A and the deceased started. The next moment, Kelly heard two gunshots. She gave the following description. African male, in his 20s, dark brown, shiny complexion, dreadlocks hairstyle, no scars, no facial hair, golden insert in upper teeth, language, local Zulu. He was wearing a brown jacket with a woolen collar. He was not clean in appearance. Suspect A entered the house first. He was armed with an old black revolver. Kelly could not describe the second suspect. After compilation, she was satisfied with the ID kit. She compiled the face with the headgear. The second witness was Kelly's sister. My Lord, let me pause here. I see it's 1:04. Initially, we had resolved that we were going to ask the court to adjourn early, but since we started late today, I think we should take the normal lunch adjournment, then we'll come back after lunch.
Okay. That's so sad.
Yes,